Hello, everybody. Welcome to this first Hotel Spider live stream session. Today with me, I have Elisha from Hotel Spider, who's our operation manager, and I have
Hi.
Maria Santos, who works in the customer care and the
Morning.
onboarding team. So, thank you for joining us on this first session. And the more specific topic that we'll be talking about today is going to be building the best possible OTA profile. Now, you guys might wonder why would you want to still build a good OTA profile, even if you're targeting mainly to attract guests to your own website. Well, according to a study done by Cornell University in 2017, the billboard effect, so basically showing up everywhere, still has a significant impact because on average, a shopper will look around on multiple websites up to 60 days prior to the visit. And that means that you need to have a good OTA profile because similar to a brochure, you cannot control where people will start looking for you. So let's jump into this a bit and talk about first impression. First impression is something that will be lasting. And I have something very nice to illustrate that. If Elisha can add it to the stream. Look at this guy. I think everybody knows who we're talking about. President Obama. Think about this being the first picture of his campaign a couple of years ago. Would you have voted for President Obama knowing that he was going to be the master in communication, the master in showing the positive image and also always a clean, straight image that he wanted to communicate? Your profile, no matter where you're showing up, it should be similar to how he managed his image. So let's jump into it and take a look at how OTAs manage their the profiles of any of the properties. And that's a topic that Elisha will quickly take you through.
Yeah, perfect. Hi, and welcome to everybody. Great to have you here in our first Ota Spider live event. So if we're with the technical details not as adjusted yet, sorry for that. It's also something new for us. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, you can add them to the comment section and we'll try to engage with that. If you have any points, if you disagree with something we're saying, please feel free to post it down below. We want to talk about OTA profiles. So obviously, best first step is to have a look at some of the OTA profiles so we know what we're discussing. We're going to look at the Mirabeau. I think you can just scroll down a little bit, Marco. Yeah, brilliant. Make it a little bit bigger. We're just going to have a quick look at the profile on booking.com. The Mirabeau is a beautiful property that we support in Zermatt. Maybe we can switch over to, perfect, the Expedia profile. And I think we already see a bit of a common theme. Maybe if you can just scroll all the way down so we see all the details that come up and really what draws the eye. Again, the OTAs obviously constantly tweak small things, constantly adapt their platforms, but the big strokes by now, they've figured out what converts best and what works best. Maybe quickly also have a look at the Airbnb. Perfect. One thing that is really very, very clear that we see, images is the first thing. The pictures that pop up right on the top of all the OTAs. We also always have amenities and details, but also clearly marked landmarks. We're going to discuss that just in a little bit in more depth. But clearly we see there is text, but it takes way longer to take in the text, to read it, and there's also way less emphasis put on the text. It's clearly image focused. Having a look at an image in under a second, you can already get an idea of what this property is, what it represents. compared to maybe a minute if you would actually go and check out all the text and details. So really, your images have an enormous impact, and I think that's what we want to talk about first. Really, how to get the best images. Maria, you want to take it from here?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Alicia. So here, like we said in the we showed here in the Mirabeau Hotel. So the photos, the first thing we see, it's are telling us, giving us much more information as all other texts. So the photos are telling 1,000 words. For a guest viewing a hotel on an OTA, the photos are the most important to decide which hotel to book. So take pictures that allow your future guests to project themselves on their future stay. In other words, take them on a virtual tour through your property. Include attractive pictures of all your facilities. It's very important, like the reception, the swimming pools, the spa, massage. If you are a conference hotel, don't forget to add the conference rooms and special for your business guests. Important features. Yeah. So, minor you visitor through your property, go through the listing of the OTA, check all your photos that are up to date. If you are doing any refurbishment in the hotel, don't forget and go and change the pictures. Also, if it's just of a specific room type, go and change them. Then mention also very important historic parts of your hotel. For example, if you are in a historic building, or write information about the owner if it's a famous person in the area, or for example, if you have the building has been built by the famous architect. Yeah. An important thing to mention as well, if you have a famous restaurant, for example, or you have had any prize in a magazine or something that is interesting for the guests to see. Sometimes little things make your property different, and guests may find it important. Also very important is to have at least 24 pictures. So if I go as a guest to the OTA and see just 2 or 3 pictures, it's not interesting for me to go and stay in this hotel. So always add as many pictures as you have, of course, but not that many, but at least 24 pictures. Yeah, I think that's the most important part of this part of the photos. And I think Marco, you are going to explain us what is to take the pictures, how to take them.
Yes. So Maria just talked about 24 pictures. 24 pictures globally about your for your property. Make sure that you put in at least 4 pictures from your room, and amongst those 4 pictures from your room, one should be from the bathroom. Why specifically the bathroom? The bathroom because it indicates it gives an indication of how clean your property is, how strict you are about sanitation and stuff like that. So how should you take the best pictures then from your for your property? First of all, if you take a picture, make sure that you take a picture from a corner so that you get the entire room in one scope. Then you might want to have stuff like take pictures of unique features that you have of your properties. If you have nice views, make sure that you showcase them, because it's a real value added for your property. If you have a balcony in your rooms, make sure that you show them. If you have facilities such as kitchens, dining rooms, or other seating areas, showcase them. It's a plus for your property. And any unique or decorative facilities that you might have in your property should also be showcased. So make sure that everything which stands out is there in pictures, because again, a picture tells just so much more in a couple of seconds versus a long text that many people will not take the time to read.
I think there I have to quickly jump in with the toilet picture. So be careful.
Sure.
I think I think you have to be very careful, because I've seen a lot of very horribly taken bathroom pictures. And again, there you're trying to put your rooms, your profile in the most advantageous way possible. Obviously, you're never trying to lie. You're not trying to tell anything wrong, because if you don't tell the truth with your images, it will come and bite you later through your reviews, because people expect something different. Um, but again, if you look at toilet images, be very careful with it. The toilet bowl itself doesn't have to be front and center. Don't make sure that there's no leftovers there. So really be very careful, especially with bathroom pictures. If you cannot take excellent, very tasteful bathroom pictures, I personally would sometimes recommend maybe just drop it. They assume there is a bathroom, they assume there's a toilet. Make sure that it's in the description that there is a private bathroom. But if the bathroom doesn't really help convince the person, then yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah. So maybe if we summarize a bit, what would make the perfect bathroom picture? By the time that you're going to take the picture, make sure that you have your lights turned on, have clean mirrors. Everything should be absolutely spotless. Shower curtains should be open so that people get an impression of the size of the bathroom that you're having. Toilet lid should be closed for the reason that Alicia just mentioned. And make sure that there are no tissues, no towels, no bins at all showing. Everything that could make a future guest think that the bathroom might be untidy should really be removed. And if there's one picture where you should really be really careful about it, it's, well, really that picture.
Yeah, and I think that brings us very nicely to the next points. I wanted to make a couple of points, sort of what to avoid when it comes to images. And again, it's about that balance. You want to make sure that your property is displayed as positive as possible, that the property shines clearly, and also your rooms. But again, you have to find a balance, because if the guest stays with you and in that moment actually has a completely different experience, it will hurt yourself, and you will get the reviews back. So a couple of points to remember. There are things to avoid. When it comes to images of people, you have to be very careful, especially when it comes to the room. And it really doesn't matter if it's just the property owner, somebody from the marketing department, or a professional model. In general, I'd rather recommend not adding people to the images, especially in the room. People don't want to feel like, that guy just slept in my room and now I'm going to have to sleep in the same room. People want to feel private and like it's their room, and this is quite intimate. When it comes to more public spaces, it might work, but again, there, if you're not sure how to do it, better to leave it aside. If you can really capture emotion and a family having enormous fun in your great pool area, that can add to the image. But if it's not done well and just the person becomes the main object of the main subject of the image, it rather leave it on the side. So unless done well, I personally prefer not to have people in the images. And going back to the pool example, be aware of cultural differences. So in some places, it might be absolutely appropriate to have a person in a swimming suit, but in other places, it might not. So depending on your target audience, and again, there, make sure that you don't discriminate some target audience because you're not thinking about that. Be tasteful. Rather not have people or people in a bathing suit in an image than just showing and displaying the facility. We had an interesting discussion about logos and branding on images. So in general, having a lower third with a description of what's in the image, having a delicate branding on the image, in my opinion, is a good way to actually communicate that you are a brand and make sure that people know what your brand is. Again, this picture will be found on the OTAs, but again, then also on other platforms. But you have to find a balance, because obviously you're on the OTA platforms. They don't really encourage you to brand the images, and they might even take down some images if they're branded too strongly. If you put your website book direct now on the image on the OTA, obviously they're going to take that down. So find a good balance between being able to show what your brand is, and having some branded images, but not all of them in case some do get taken down. A couple of other specific tips: make sure there's no reflections in mirrors or windows. Also, TVs and screen, make sure they're turned off. Something that always drives me crazy: outdate the tech. So if you have a piece of technology, be it an alarm clock or a radio or some phone that is outdated, that was really cool 10 or 5 years ago, do not take close-up images of it and don't focus on it. It can be there, you don't have to take it out, but don't show me that as a USP for that room, that I have a really old radio that doesn't even work with my technology anymore. And then coming back to, again, the point we made in the beginning: be realistic. So try to avoid super crazy wide angles or extremely high. Don't take pictures from the lamp, because I, as a guest, will never experience it like that. So make sure that you're showing me images how I could actually experience that. And then when it comes obviously to quality, we'll talk about a little bit more in the next topics, but make sure that they're not overly bright, underexposed, overexposed, and all these details. But I think, Maria, you have a couple more points there when it comes to how to take the best pictures.
Yes, so we most probably are experienced when we are loading pictures in different platforms that sometimes we are not allowed to load them because they are not big enough. So to be efficiently displayed on digital platforms, your photos need to be consistently high quality and high resolution. That's very important. Otherwise, you will get most probably not be able to load them. If you don't have photos yet, get a professional photograph to do it for you. For example, if you have a friend that is a photographer, or you have someone in the family that is doing great pictures, ask them to do it for you. Yeah. If you don't have anyone, then go and check for the freelancer. You have here different websites where we are showing you where you can find some experts that can take some nice pictures of your property that can be displayed then on all your OTAs. And of course, also you can use them afterwards also for other marketing purposes. If you use your own digital camera, or you can use, of course, our latest generation mobile phone that takes pictures, yeah, they need to be on a landscape, horizontal way. Don't do portrait photos, the format that are all displayed in the same format on one after each other. It's not nice to see one as a portrait format and the other one as a landscape format. So always in most of the OTAs, most of the sites, you have to load them as a landscape format anyway. So, and the minimum resolution is 2K, so 2048, 1018 pixels, sorry. So this is the lowest, and of course, if you have 4K or 8K, this is of course also the better to have the best resolution. So take all the pictures from the same height, between 1 and 1.6 meters. Don't take them from from high side, that everything is showing on the same level. Should make shots from rooms, corners to add perspective and depth to your images. Yeah, so that you can see all the area, you can see the full the full room, and especially remove everything, like Alicia said, that is not important to show. So capture as much of each space as possible. Yeah. So, and use a tripod to avoid shakes, because if you are, of course, doing a photo with your hand, correct? So, and you shake, of course, it's not going to be in a good resolution, and it's not going to show nice. Yeah. So what you have to avoid is grainy and pixel pictures. And if they do blurry or shift photos. So photos collage, you shouldn't take collage, you should have for each photo one. Don't put everything together in one photo because they are anyway too small to show and to see all the different, yeah. Watermarks and illustrations in photos are also something that you should avoid here. Yeah, so I think there are the most important parts here.
Maybe I can quickly jump in here. I think there are a lot
Of
of
course.
very good points, Maria, and I think it also shows that it's not that easy. There is a lot of things you have to consider. There's a lot of points you have to be cautious about. So I personally am not a huge fan of taking pictures yourself. Of course, you have a cell phone that can take well up to 8K camera pictures, depending on what you're working with. Um, but really, it's more than that. I mean, photography is an art form, so I really think it's a good investment. If you're working with social media, if you have a blog post and you talk about the food in your restaurant, and you have somebody that is competent and can take a couple of nice pictures for social media or for a blog post or something like that, I think that can make absolutely sense. For your website, but especially also for your OTA profiles, that's the first impression. That's what you want people to see. So make sure these are professional images. And the other point is also, if you can work with a local person, with somebody that is nearby to you, it's also much easier to plan other sessions, to recurrently work with the same people, to also have some sort of continuation of the same brand images. So really there, be careful where you save your budget. It might, in my opinion, the best you can invest in is a professional photographer and good images.
Completely agree, Alicia. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've spoken a lot about pictures. As Elisha underlined at the beginning, the OTA profiles is not only about about pictures, even if it's an important part. Another thing that also pops up a lot are the amenities of your property. So make sure that you list those that you actually offer. I mean, if you would be a hotel guest, how would you select your hotel? Location, that's probably an important part, and we'll get to that later. But after that, you're going to select based on criteria, because you still have, if you haven't yet made a selection. And remember, the OTA profile should ideally be there to attract visitors you get for the first time. If you get recurring guests and they're still booking through the OTA, you might not have communicated sufficiently with them that the guest would have advantages on booking directly at your platform, at your property. So go through those amenities on these OTAs carefully, tick all those that you need, and be especially careful with the most used amenities. I mean, if we take a look at the different OTAs, here we have the most popular facilities. Those are the ones that people search the most on booking.com. Take a look here at Expedia. Again, they have the popular amenities. That's those, again, where people search a lot for. So if you want your property to reflect at the top of the listing on the OTA, make sure that if you have any of these amenities, do not miss out of them, because you'll lose on reservations simply because your property will not be found. And the cost of acquisition of a first-time customer via OTA is still a good cost. Elisha, you want to take from here?
Yes,
I mentioned one point of the how people find the hotel, but what actually takes guests to select rather your property than something else.
yeah. I think there again we have to remember, people really, nobody travels for the hotel, or really very very few properties you have where you actually travel to the hotel. Very globally, you travel to a destination, you travel to do something, to see a place, to do an activity, to explore a city. So again, maybe if we go to the OTA profile, you will always find sort of these landmarks, points of interest, what's relevant. that you're close to the ski lift. This is extremely important because obviously I'm in Zermatt. I'm going for winter holidays. I want to know that my ski lift is where it is. I want to know how close it is to other attractions, the Matterhorn and other elements. And that is really important to keep in mind. Take your time, make sure in your profile that you update these details. It can be very major elements like a ski lift or a Matterhorn, which is, I guess, obvious for every hotel in Zermatt that they will indicate the closeness to that. But it can also be smaller elements like museums, smaller attractions, but it can also be exhibits, event places, but also a bus stop or another local stop that people might be looking for. I'm in business in London. I'm looking for a convenient way to get to that and that place. So I might be looking for something very specific, an exhibition square or city center. So make sure that you have that up to date. Again, they travel for a specific element, catch them there, make sure on the OTAs when people look for that element that you show up in the relevant hotel lists. I think the last part is sort of the text description and details. Maria, you want to continue there?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. So the text description, as you know, is after the pictures is on the second point. Most of the OTAs have the general description that is showing on the first part. So very, very important that you add there the most important things of your hotel. So on the first part, where is the hotel located? The stars, for example, and if it's a ski resort, of course, add all this information. If you are not a person that is generating this content in a competence or you don't have this people Excel. So then it's more important to have someone that is doing this for you and hiring a person that is doing this for you. Especially Booking.com is most of the time doing this for the hotels because they think they have their marketing person, they have the people that really know what needs to be there, and they are doing it for them. So also the other thing is to do all the translations. If you have someone in the hotel that can do, of course, the most important languages for your hotel. For example, if you are in Zermatt, you would like to have, for example, Japanese, Chinese, English, and of course, all these different languages. And they will do also that for you. If you are hiring someone that can do all these translations and the descriptions for you, I think it's also it's a good investment, like for the photos, to have someone doing this work for you. You can use, of course, all these descriptions not only for the OTAs afterwards. It's an information that you can add also to your website, or you can add to a brochure that you have to do for a local, for your local guests, or for any other platforms. So I think as well here is an investment that you are doing for your hotel and for many different ways from getting reservations.
Yeah, I'd like to point out again, if we look at these OTA profiles, Booking.com does it for you. They've been doing it for quite some while. But take a look at all the way down at the Expedia profile where the descriptions actually appear. Here we have a first description, but even there, it's still a geographical landmark that they're describing. It's still not your property. It's almost at the bottom.
Yeah.
So
and you can be assured that this is not coincidence. You can assure that it has moved over the past 10 years in any possible position. So if it is down there, that doesn't mean there's no value. If somebody really wants to know more about it, they can find it there, but there's a good reason why it's there.
Yeah, same here. It just, at Airbnb, you actually have to click, you have to take an action to read the description. So it shows again the first three parts that we've talked about: pictures, location, so your points of interest, make sure that they're right, and make sure that you tick all your amenities that you have at your property. So this kind of brings us already to the end of this first live session. we've been seeing some really interesting points. If I were to sum up a bit what we've been talking about, OTA profile, think of it as a brochure. You hand it out, and once you've handed it out and it's out there in the nature, you have absolutely no control of who's going to be seeing it. So make sure that at all time your property appears at its best. Don't neglect any of the details. It takes time spending some, making sure that your profile is at its best, just like you've spent a lot of time and most of the time a lot of love in making your brochure, because it's what sells your hotel rooms at the end of the day. OTA profile, again, for if we talk about guests who are coming to your property for the first time, it's a good return on investment to have a good OTA profile and to get a couple of reservations for them. For those guests that come back on a regular basis to your property, you have different ways to make them book directly at your property. We'll talk about that surely in a later session. Or if you have any questions regarding that, don't hesitate to contact us. Think about with your brochure that a brochure always sets an expectation. Elisha mentioned it before. If you show something which is not realistic, it can have a really negative effect later on your reviews, which at that point in time will then again also affect your reservations, your future reservations. And last, just like Maria also said it, your property is a living thing. It evolves through time. So make sure that you keep all of those OTA profiles up to date as well. It doesn't have to be a daily task, but think about it every 6 to 12 months. Go over your pictures. Technologies change. People are using new screens, more modern screens, higher resolutions, more details. So think also of how your guests are using technology and what they might be using to make sure that at all point in time, your property just jumps out and just is the best when it comes down to the image it's broadcasting. Maria, would you like to add something?
Well, thank you very much to both of you that have started all this to do these live sessions. I think it's very interesting, and for the hotels, of course. Yeah, so we hope that information was important and was helpful for them.
Yeah, so I think that just as a point to everybody, we're started these live sessions. So as you can see, it's new to us as well, but we want to do this once a month. So if you interested in these tech-related topics, we spoke now about OTAs, but we're going to talk about conversion optimization for your booking engine. We're going to talk about direct booking. We're going to talk about different topics in the hotel technology distribution space. So we're going to be online once a month. We'll post the events on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. So if you're interested, subscribe there so you don't miss them. The next one is on February...
the third Wednesday of the month?
Wednesday the 9th.
Wednesday,
the 9th.
yeah.
February the 9th. Sorry for that. We'll post it in the beginning of February with the topic and everything. So follow us on our channels so you don't miss that. And thank you very much for everybody for watching. And thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.